Now give me this mountain.
Welcome to Tsubvu Wealth. Today we're diving into something that I think is a real source of power for any entrepreneur, especially if you're ready to build something amazing from what looks like nothing. We're going to go to a place where, honestly, nothing should exist to learn how to turn those barren challenges into thriving, revolutionary opportunities. Let's get into it.
So, let me start with a simple question. When you picture a desert, hot, dry, totally unforgiving, what do you think grows there? Maybe a couple of tough shrubs, some cacti, right? But what if the answer was something else entirely? Something you'd never expect?
That's right, a revolution. And we're not just talking about politics here. We're talking about a complete, radical shift in how you think. It's about the belief that, with the right perspective, the most hostile environments can actually become the most fertile ground for groundbreaking ideas.
Now, to see what this actually looks like, our first stop is southern Israel's Arava Desert. This place, it just completely defies logic. It is a true paradox of nature and human grit.
I mean, just look at this contrast. On one side, you have the expectation, a yellow, barren wasteland where nothing is supposed to grow. But the reality, it's a green, flourishing hub of agriculture. This place is a mass exporter of goods like peppers, tomatoes, and dates that, by all logic, just shouldn't be there. It's a living, breathing paradox.
So how did this happen? Was it just some big, ambitious project? Nope. The real driver was something way more powerful, something every single entrepreneur knows deep in their bones: pure, unfiltered necessity.
This quote from our source material really gets right to the heart of it. Innovation wasn't a nice-to-have. It was a survival strategy. When feeding your family and your community is actually on the line, you don't just work harder, you're forced to work smarter. You have to turn your craft, whatever it is, into a science.
And the challenges? Wow. They were immense. We are talking about arid, hostile land, water that was not only scarce but also incredibly salty, a national need to be self-sufficient, and, get this, a population that, for generations, hadn't even worked the land. These aren't just small hurdles. These are massive, fundamental problems.
So this is where the story gets really, really good. Faced with these seemingly impossible odds, the choice became crystal clear: innovate or perish. And that mindset, that's the engine behind every great enterprise.
This idea perfectly captures that spirit of relentless problem solving. It's the principle that a constraint isn't a dead end, it's actually a creative prompt. A locked door isn't a barrier, it's just an invitation to find the window and be more resourceful than everybody else.
And this just brilliantly illustrates how that mindset works. Instead of wasting that precious scarce water, they invented precision drip irrigation. Instead of accepting low yields from terrible soil, they literally started hanging plants in the air. Things like strawberries and mint on posts, just to maximize every single inch of space. They brought in new soil, used sensors for real-time data. They rethought everything.
And the result of all this thinking? Get ready for this number: 400. By taking a single tomato stem and weaving it back and forth instead of just letting it grow up, farmers can now harvest up to 400 cherry tomatoes from one plant. That is not an improvement. That's a complete reinvention of what's possible.
But here's where we get to the most profound lesson of all. We've seen how they overcame the desert, but what if they didn't just overcome it? What if the hardship itself was the secret ingredient to their greatest success?
Just think about that for a second. This is a game-changing idea. Not just putting up with hardship, but actually harnessing it. A plant biologist named Dr. Rivki Ofer made a discovery that proves this point in the most incredible way possible.
So Dr. Ophir found that when she took these amazing desert plants and grew them in a perfect, comfy, irrigated lab, they lost their magic. The powerful, healing, anti-cancer compounds she was studying, they only appeared in the plants that grew wild in the desert, the ones that had to fight against the heat, the salt, and the lack of water. The quality, it only came out when it was hard.
So, this all boils down to a critical principle: stress-induced value. The very conditions that challenge an organism, or a business, or a person are what force it to develop unique, powerful, and valuable qualities just to survive. The struggle isn't a bug, it's a feature. The harshness of that desert is what created the miracle properties in those plants.
Let that one sink in for a minute. Hardship creates value. Your specific hardship, the very thing that feels like your biggest disadvantage, is actually the raw material for your unique value. It's the very thing that can make what you create stronger, more resilient, and more potent than anything grown in easy conditions.
So let's bring this all home. Let's build a blueprint for you. Because this isn't just a cool story about farming in Israel, it's a manual for building a revolutionary business right where you are, anywhere across the amazing African continent.
I want you to ask yourself this right now. What is your desert? Is it a lack of capital? Is it unreliable infrastructure? Is it a specific problem in your community that nobody seems to be solving? Name it. Identify it. Because that is not your obstacle. That's your starting block.
So here are the lessons from the desert. First, see needs as seeds. Every single problem you see around you is a business opportunity just waiting to be planted. Second, turn constraints into creativity. Limited resources will force you to innovate in ways that people with deep pockets will never discover. Third, find strength in the struggle. Your unique challenges will give you a unique, powerful advantage. That's your stress-induced value. And finally, innovate for your context. Don't copy-paste solutions made for a different climate or market. Build for your reality.
So let's reframe this whole thing. Your desert is not an obstacle holding you back. It is your competitive advantage. It's the stress that is going to create unimaginable value. The only question left is, what will you make bloom?
Now give me this mountain.